in this boxing asylum, whatever you're called, right? You see, you must be the most bored man on planet Earth, because what you do is you sit and talk about what the fuck I do. Remember this, right? What you talk about, I do. I do it. You talk about it, I do it. So that gives me the right to say whatever I want about what I do. It doesn't give you the right, because you don't do it. Now, if you show me a video of you doing it and doing it at the level I do it at, then maybe you can have a say. But remember this: I fight, you watch. It's that simple. That's all it's about. I fight, you watch. No one gives a shit about what you say or what you do, but they give a shit about me because I fight. I don't watch. Simple as that. Your podcast isn't worth a carrot. I don't give a shit what you say, what you do. If you've got something to say to me, I'm not hard to find. I'm usually on the front row at boxing events. Come and say hello, or come and say to me what you'd say to me on your daft podcast. But remember this: I get more views with a fart than what you get with a 2-hour podcast. On that
note... Shout out to Tone there. Boys enjoying that in the chat. A High Guard Plodder says Big Tone has a point, to be fair. To a degree, he does have a point, but you see this whole I fight and you can only have opinion if you fight. That's okay then. So how does the world go round with the sporting world? If people aren't writing about boxing, talking about boxing on Talk Sport, buying pay-per-view, sitting at home, going to the fights whenever you're allowed to and buying tickets, all these people would be eliminated under Tone's criteria. He wouldn't be able to sit and talk about Everton Football Club under his criteria. He's there shitting on these Everton players. He's never played the Premier League in his life. He's talking about horse racing. He's never been a horse. I've never seen him ridden along a furlong, not a furlough, whatever you call it, as long as I've ever... You know what I mean? What's he talking about? What do you think, Ozzy? You think I'm being a bit too harsh on the main man himself in the Bellew of the Week segment here? Or do you think he should just shut the hell up?
Not at all, no. It's an opinion that just doesn't have any logic to me. If you've not operated at that level, you don't deserve to have an opinion. Well, for example, then, unless you've got like the likes of Mike Atherton, who writes for, you know, one of the newspapers, who used to be a Test match cricketer, he's one of the only journalists that can comment on cricket. And I've always said, some of the opinions, look at some of the Sky pundits' opinions that we get. Dave Caldwell called a Chisora win last week against Alexander Usyk. Dave Caldwell's an ex-pro. So that basically, according to Bellew, he knows more about the sport than we do. Fine, he may well do technically and stuff like that. He then admits after it he was emotionally drawn into the fight, and he then scored it to Chisora type of thing. Has put some. Cal Froch has put in some horrendous cards as well. The amount of shite we see from boxers calling it wrong, and they go, well, I know more about you. Well, clearly not. Clearly fucking not. And it's like it for everything. Like you summed it up right. He's a big Everton fan. No, sorry, Tony, you can't support Everton. Or if you do, you can't say a word. Why is that? You've never been a pro footballer. You may have had a kick about, on the AstroTurf, five-a-side with your mates type of thing. But you've never,
I love it.
You've never operated at a pro level. So back off. Back off. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work whatsoever. Look, if we were trying to be, be like technical and say they should do this, this, and this, I would kind of understand it. But it's very rare, we come in with stuff like that. And look, everybody's got an opinion. You don't have to agree with it. And if we sat here every week sucking up to Tony Bellew and praising him, I've no doubt he'd absolutely buzz off it, and he won't be saying, stop praising me. Stop praising me. You've never boxed. You can't praise me. He'd absolutely love it.
Hey, one of the listeners sent me one in and said, did you hear the Trish Dixon podcast? He said, all the boxing stuff, giving him his intro, and then he says he appeared in the Creed movies, lists off about 3 reality shows that he's done, and goes, and of course his work on A League of Their Own with James Corden. And then he goes, I've never asked him to do the podcast, as I know Tony doesn't really want to be put out there. I don't think he was taking the piss. Then Bellew in the interview goes, after I retired, no one heard nothing from me for 12 months. 12 months of nothing. I laid low. Laid low. He was back on Sky within a month, your man says. So I said I give him a shout out, like I mentioned that one on the pod. Tony, he couldn't be any more of a parody of himself if he fucking tried, man. I think sometimes he just does this shit to be kept on Bellew of the week or something. Like he just cannot shut the fuck up, man. He'll say anything. As soon as they put the camera on the face, all sense goes out the window and he just starts talking absolute balderdash. Like he's fucking, but he's brilliant entertainment. I give him that much, man. And he's nearly as good out of the ring as he is during his career. Happily watch him on catchphrase rather than watch the fucking Over McKenzie first fight again.
Yeah, High God Plodder says who or what was he reacting to anyway? Here, if you hear at the beginning, he goes, "See you, this boxing asylum." It was about 5 or 6 years ago, whenever the Bellew of the Week was coming to fruition or just coming into play. I can't remember. Coogan actually asked him about it on an IFL video, and he was trying to explain it to Tony. Tony wasn't quite getting it, and then he turns to the camera and has that rant that you heard there. Now it's out there on one of the IFL videos, so. That's what it was. A few people were confused about that. Shout out to Tony. Anyway, Bellew of the Week from 398. Let's
Steve,
get on with
Adam Smido-Smith issued a response to Tony Bellew as well, in response to the comments made on IFL TV. So if you search Adam Smith Boxing Asylum on YouTube, you can see his official response where he's working out the bag in his garage. So the Asylum did not go down without a fight. I think it's fair to say.
Smido fighting back. Not sure about the Adonis Stevenson, Mr. Plodder. I don't know what you're talking about. Let's move on to the Bellew of the Weeks then. Go ahead, Rob.
I'd love to see that. Smido versus Bellew. I'd like to see that. I'd watch that one.
Absolutely. Bit of in-play betting for you. Good old spin. Yeah, Cougar, it's called the Tony Bellew Talks Podcast Critics. I'm not sure what it's called, but it's out there somewhere. It might be on our channel. Actually, go and search it out. Michael Benson tweeting out ahead of his fight with Yuriorkis Gamboa tonight. The WBC awarded Devon Haney a second belt. He was made champion in recess due to injury and then reinstated to be champion for a second time. Declan Graffin, Bellew of the Week for this shit. No shame at all. Shout out the WBC, having a great time over there.
They did not do that.
They did, yeah. There's a video of it.
Oh, man. Brilliant.
Good old WBC. The Bat Boxer was calling the Povetkin knockout of Dillian White a lucky punch. Lucky as in if Dillian had just kept that right hand up at the time, he would have won. Hence, Povetkin got lucky. Sean Stevo says, and if David Price had slipped Povetkin's shots and not got knocked out, stood up, he would have beaten him too. Yeah, Bat Boxer, I think, was on one there. He was playing us all for a fool. And the Sheikah has been nominated by McKenna, talking about Christopher Lovejoy's profile in comparison to Michael Hunter. I'm just saying he's not a big name, as you're suggesting in the UK or anywhere. He needs to do a better job of self-promoting himself, talking about Hunter. Crazy as it sounds, I think Lovejoy has a bigger UK audience than Hunter. It's the truth. Well, he's certainly bigger, Aussie, in the UK. Lovejoy, when he came over, he's got the bigger audience than Michael Hunter. The UK people can't get enough of Lovejoy. Plenty to go around.
I saw this. What a load of rubbish. A guy who got his 5 minutes of fame because he was fighting Dave Allen and then never got in the ring with Dave Allen. Now has a bigger profile than Michael Hunter. Utter trash.
Good on Ashika getting thrown in there. A nomination for Gervonta Davis, reportedly involved in a hit-and-run accident in South Baltimore. He wasn't involved in Leo Santa Cruz, I don't think. Per the CBS Baltimore reporter, he's going the same way as AB, and he's not here to revel, unfortunately, in the misery. It'd be a shame if Davis goes the same way as Broner, but you never know. Need to get him out of the hood. Captain Chunk has nominated Tara Nesdin, talking about Eddie's book, Relentless. Go and get it in Amazon. Jarrett has nominated Desla. Dillian White is definitely worthy of a fight with Fury. Not sure why Frank wouldn't want to make it. Yeah, I can't think myself either, to be honest. Lukey Boxing. What is this hashtag Bellew of the Week that some people tag on my timeline? I'll tell you what, Lukey's on one lately. He knows. He's getting nominated on purpose every week for talking shit, Rob.
Yeah, I found it funny that last week we were praising Gervonta Davis and all giving out our great hope that he holds up and relishes in the biggest moment of his career, and a week later
2 days
South Baltimore in a hit and run. Yeah, I think we know how this story's going to fucking end, unfortunately. Fuck me.
Good old Gervonta. Asian Boxing is nominated I Hate Mike Ashley. Hands down the best fighter of his generation. Talking about Devin Haney, would love to see him and Floyd fight. I know it might not have been the most exciting fight, but technically it would have been unreal. I think someone's being brainwashed by the cult of Hearn there. Callum Johnson says, I'm open to 168 or 175. Canelo versus you would be on fire, says Lewis. David Womwell says, Canelo going nowhere near Callum. Callum ends him in 3 to 4 rounds. Bad style for Canelo. Callum hits too hard. Callum versus Ryder, Aussie, would be a good fight to blow the cobwebs off.
I don't know where these people come from. I honestly don't. But the epitome of Sky, like maggots, they buzz off all the hype and things like that. To have the disrespect and say, hey, Callum Johnson against John Ryder, John would be a warm-up opponent. But then only to go on and say, fucking Callum Johnson ends Canelo in 3 to 4 rounds because it's a bad style. What a load of rubbish. I like Callum Johnson as well. I think he's a good fighter, and I think it's a disgrace, the situation he's in. I really do feel for him. But David, is it Womwell or Wombwell?
Oh, Wombwell, yeah.
Because you ain't got a clue.
Maybe he didn't come out the womb well himself.
Stick him back in. Oh dear. Yeah, that reminded me of that fellow who said before the Conor McGregor Floyd Mayweather fight, McGregor shouldn't have jumped straight in with Floyd. He should have fought Terence Crawford in a tune-up first. I can't remember who that was, but that was a good one.
Yeah. Oh,
David Almond throwing in another one there for Jason Souza. I knew they was taking this, but all I wanted is to be world champion. I did that. I'm from the hood, wasn't educated in the world of boxing. It's okay, 30% trainer, 30% co-promotion. I am going to educate myself now. Yeah, Bellew of the week for the people who are fucking over Sosa, man. He's been badly treated in the world of boxing. He needs to sign up with Don King. Don will sort you out there. Ball versus Guianini, as previewed on this podcast earlier. Jack Brown's getting stuck in. He's enjoying it. We should get him on next week. God damn, Eddie, you couldn't deliver Dillian White a title shot in how many years? Rachel wins a tear-up against fit for a year 11 scrap, and she could be a world champion. Ted Barrett, friend of the pod. Shout out to Ted, nominating him for that one. Adrian Boner sent to jail for contempt of court. Damien Street nominating that one. Quite a few people, by the way, sent in the Javonta Davis one, so shout out to all of them. David Alman nominating O'Hara Davis. I think he's a bit of a troll, Davis, isn't he? Just learned how to pump air into my car tyre. It costs 50p, so why do the car people always charge me a fiver to do it? Eddie's book is back doing the rounds again. Billy the Fish. 12 rounds to success are rounds 1 to 11, down to having a wealthy dad with a behemoth of a business. Rich's Boxing says, everyone apparently assumes that, can't read this, the screen's too light, and the book covers this off. Eddie was given tough love as a kid and no handouts. Ian McKenzie nominating for that one. And then finally, William McNamara.
Who would fucking write that, though? Like, who would go to the trouble of writing that? Like, defending anyone who you don't know. His dad was very strict on him, actually.
You'd find that out, Rob, if you read Relentless, 12 rounds to success.
Well, I'm willing to do it for Patreon. If he's want to throw a few quid in there, he'll have me read the audiobook for Eddie Hearn. I read it to Smitho at night, man. He'll love it. After
a couple of cans of cider, Rob. Out in the out in the field, you should read it with the windows.
On the old microphone, yeah. I'll read it like that. It sounds better.
Eddie was born in 1977. Oh, good old Rob. Love having Rob with us.
That was just me blowing a fuse. It wouldn't be the storm. It would be me blowing a fuse for eating the fucking thing.
Oh, dear. Where's the last one? Let's bring it up, shall we? Michael Montero, Bilal said, Crawford fought an undefeated champion in his prime. He's not taking the Mayweather route. Michael Montero says, great point. Postol is the type of guy Floyd avoided for much of his career. Hashtag Crawford Postol. Oh, William McNamara nominating him for that one. Better late than never. Let's get some boxing hardcore knowledge on the go. Adam Smith with us. Coming to you shortly, Smitho. We're on Bellew of the week at the moment. Let's see if the boys have any nominations. Oh, yeah, Ozzy. That's absolutely right, Ozzy. I do apologise. I forgot to send them in to myself. Let's see if I can. I'll tell you what, I'll go around the lads while I try and send these pictures to myself. I forgot all about them. And see if they've got any nominations. First of all, Rob, do you have anything for us this week?
No, just Devin Haney and his dad for trying to say that he's the real champion because they gave Teofimo the franchise belt. So he's not the real champion who beat Vasily Lomachenko. It's Devin Haney who beat 36-year-old Yoriokas Gamboa. And champion
It's
in
all Devon.
recess.
Any
as
from
well,
you,
man.
Aussie? I'm
Champion
just
in recess as well.
champion in
Don't forget
recess.
that.
I tell you what, I think
Reinstated champion of recess as well. Fuck me.
and I'm starting to run out of all these these titles that Devon Haney's claiming. Anything from you, Aussie, on the Bellew of the week?
No, but while Smido's here, I want to ask him the question about the betting market. You know, from what the question was before about the commentators'
yeah.
influence play stuff. Yeah. Adam Smith, are you there?
Yes, hello.
Hang
Yeah,
on, Smido.
so-
Let me. I'll see if I can bring it up, Aussie, and then he can see it directly. Let me see if we can get this. Right, just uploading it. Okay, Smido, on the screen. Just while I bring up these photos, have a look. Can you see the screen, Smido? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, respond to that then, dude.
So, do I think that they're purposely calling it wrong to influence the in-play betting? The short answer to that is no. The betting on boxing is minuscule compared to the likes of football and horse racing in this country. Betting on boxing is minuscule. All you have to do is look on Betfair for any fight that's not a proper, AJ or White or someone with a big name like that. For anyone who it's not like that, you just look on Betfair and there's pennies in there. So no, there's not enough money in that to even make that a theory. But to flip the question a little bit, does the Sky commentary have influence on the odds? Yes, from time to time it does. So there will be not as much as it used to be, but now there will be some bookmakers will have a dedicated boxing trader who will sit there, watch the fight, and change the odds for the live betting. And some of the and as people like me, or I admit that I'm sometimes swayed by the commentary, as we all have been at some stage in our life, and that's just judging it. So it's the same for us sitting at home trying to judge it on our little scorecard. It's the same for a boxing odds compiler sitting there in London or wherever they sit, Gibraltar, and doing the odds themselves and updating it for their particular website. But as time's gone on, what kind of happens now is that multiple bookmakers across the industry will get the same odds from one place. So they kind of outsource it, if you like, because I think, as I might have mentioned before, there's no bookmaker in the country that takes enough money on boxing to be adequate for someone to be a full-time employee for boxing. You wouldn't get 40 hours of work out of them a week because there's not enough boxing and there's not enough money taken on it. So where I've worked before, for example, the lad who looks after greyhounds also does the boxing because there's simply not enough work to have a full-time boxing trader. So what they do now with a lot of stuff is outsource it. So there'll be someone in Europe, one of the big companies will provide odds for events, any sporting event, including boxing, and we'll send that to the bookmaker, and then it just populates. So they just outsource it, and they don't have to employ someone full time. That's why, I mean, you can log on to Sky Bet now, and you might see, Filipino in-play football. Do you reckon Sky Bet have got someone sitting in the Philippines doing that game? No, absolutely not. They get that from a third party. So that's how they can do that. But no, the short answer is no, they're not doing it to influence the betting markets because there simply wouldn't be enough for the conspiracy to make money. But what they do say, I have seen influence the odds, but I certainly wouldn't suggest that they are profiteering from their ridiculous and biased commentaries.
Lovely jubbly. Adam Smith jumping in right at the end there just to add a clarification. Marty Smith has thrown me one here. John McCallum before the Tishenko fight, which I actually forgot to watch. I know it was on Box Nation on Saturday afternoon. I'm a bit jet lagged, but I'm here to knock out your boy, overweight middleweight, against an Olympic heavyweight gold medalist, saying that shite is Bellew of the week. I think he got ended in the second round. Do you want to give us a bit of background on this one then, Ozzy? I've got the photos uploaded about the artist guy. Just explain to the listeners what's going on, and then I shall reveal these photographs if I dare.
Yeah, so the artist will be well known to a lot of boxing fans. I think he's called Killian. Draws a lot of pictures, like really impressive pictures of Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, all sorts of boxers, and they're excellent pictures. And I think he's sold pictures, that go for a lot of money, particularly, like charity events, etc., things like that. Anyway, lockdown has clearly been messing with his head, and it's fair to say he's ditched boxing and gone for a more erotic approach is the best way to describe it. But the pictures, which will go up on screen now, will reveal all. This is why he's nominated for Bellew of the Week.
So, Ozzy, you can't do any tactical analysis on the boxing, but any in-play analysis going on here? What's happening in picture one? Then give us the lowdown.
I just, mate, I always say pictures tell the story. No matter what you say, all right, pictures tell the story, and this one is a prime example.
I think it'd be like fighting a southpaw. You want to make sure your right foot is on the inside. I think in that one.
He's circled round into play there, hasn't he, the big fella? He fairly got the jab going here. Good stiff jab. Just keeping her at a fair distance. Yeah, maybe we should stick to boxing. I think the boys in the chat seem to be enjoying that. That's
a standing 8 count there.
Don't think we're going to have the ads on this week, Rob. No YouTube AdSense.
No, I can't. If you can't get a super chat for that, you leave it so.
Yeah, shout out to Matthew, Russell, and Dave from Boxing's First for super chats. Not for anything to do with those photos. Chris Killian Art. That's a strong runner. So who we're going to go for? There was one earlier that made me laugh. I'm just going to try and flick through them. It wasn't that guy. Maybe Devin Haney, actually, Rob. Who are you going for this week? Could be Haney with a WBC. Could be Chris Killian Art. There were quite a few casuals thrown in. Who's getting the vote this week, Rob?
Yeah, I think it's going to be hard to top. I mean, Bellew gets it every week, but I think Chris is going to be hard to top there. If I was the police, I'd be going to his house now. I'd see where this is going early in the story. If I was the cops there, maybe get Tony Bellew on the case. He's sorted out.
Okay, who'd you go for there, Rob? It might be my internet connection, but I slightly lost you towards the end.
Chris, the artist, the erotic artist.
Yeah, I think it's got to be Chris, the erotic artist for me. Did you see those snaps, Smido? Would that be the type of thing you'd be hanging on the living room wall?
No, not particularly, but I was going to vote for the fella who said Callum Johnson is all wrong for Canelo. Did he get a nomination?
Yeah, David Wombwell.
Yeah, that's who I'm voting for.
Shout out to him. I'm going to go for the artist as well, so that's going to be 2 for the artist. As Coogan's Waterbill says, this will be great for the iTunes listeners, or Apple Podcasts as it's called now. They'll have to come on over to the YouTube and have a good gander. Maybe I'll put it up on Twitter or something. Ozzy, who are you going for?
Oh, without a doubt, the erotic artist. His attention to detail is outstanding.
Absolutely. Got stuck straight into the pocket and never relented. Congratulations, Chris Killian Art. Is it Chris Killian or Chris Killian, Ozzy?
I've not a clue. I think it's Killian.
Used to play for Celtic. What do you call it? There hasn't been this much eroticism in boxing since Malik Scott and Tyler Goodjohn's OnlyFans account. So we need more of that. You know what I mean? Spice things up a bit.
Well done, Chris Killian. Congratulations. You are Bellew of the Week for episode 398.